What up, what up? This is Cam Green. This is the Green Light. Say no more, say less. I got my boy Sid Says So to the left of me. And
how you doing, y'all? This is Sidney Odom again on the Green Light, and today we have a special guest.
Please introduce yourself.
Hey, this is Lashawn Chambers. I am a graduate of Prairie View A&M University.
PV.
You know. About to set my homecoming out in a few more days.
Yes.
I'm also the owner of Campus Lately, an online collegiate news entertainment site.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about Campus Lately. I know I follow you on the gram, and it's a pretty big page. You got a lot of people that follow you and a lot of people that, just look at what you're doing. So what exactly inspired you, and what is Campus Lately about?
Well, what inspired me, so I went to an HBCU as I kicked off in my intro.
Oh, yeah.
Right, very proud of that. And I fell in love with that community. I fell in love with that experience. I fell in love with those people. I fell in love with what it offered. And I knew from day one of going to a HBCU that I would never again experience anything like that. I knew corporate America, I would be a minority. In corporate America, I'm actually usually the only black person, the only woman, and the youngest person in the room for every meeting.
Wow.
So I knew it was special, and I really fell in love with that. And so I'm a little older than you gentlemen, and so when I graduated, Instagram wasn't around.
Yeah.
See, y'all can't say that, right? So when I graduated,
You can say that.
Facebook had just popped off, and in fact, it was when I was in college, it was just for college students. Like that's when I got on Facebook, when it wasn't even for parents and young folks. And so there really wasn't a community for HBCUs. There wasn't a conversation had that accurately represented HBCUs. All the blogs, none of the pictures looked like me. The love stories weren't my love stories. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to create a space that discussed that and focused on my HBCUs, black collegians, all of that conversation.
Okay.
Nice. That is something. That's a good topic and idea actually to jump off of. When you're talking about faces like you and I, basically of the darkest skin tone, being in the business world, whether that being you just being black or being black and a woman.
Right.
If anything, first off, that's very inspirational to know
Let's
that
talk
you.
about it, man.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I like that.
Let's talk about it. It's very inspirational. Let's again another round of applause for that. If anything.
Stop it.
I'm tearing up the microphone. But I'm very proud of that to know that you're actually in our presence and you are succeeding in life in some sense. You're achieving a lot of goals that a lot of African Americans actually don't achieve on a regular day basis, and actually a lot don't even strive for, I'd say, in my own personal opinion. A lot of us are aimed in a bunch of different directions, like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
About as younger youth, African Americans, I'd say a lot of times they don't have real goals.
Yeah.
Aiming to be just like rappers or anything that you see on TV or on social media. So, yeah, we're looking up to you today. We're looking up to you today, actually,
light on you.
being the difference that we were talking about last week.
Right. But in reality, we sucked a little bit when we were 16. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
that's
saying?
true,
Like, we weren't
that's
as driven and as focused.
I was great.
You were awesome, right? You were,
I've been determined.
I'm not
out
gonna
the
lie.
womb.
I was pretty focused. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but,
man. Yeah.
But we still sucked a little bit, and they got their own issues, and I believe this next generation will figure it out. They're facing things that we didn't have social media, we didn't have texting.
Yeah.
Like we could not talk to our friends all day long. It was on the landline. For me personally, again, dating my age, like it was a landline.
I had landlines as well.
I had landlines as well.
We were on my
Did you use it?
and
Were you
Facebook.
singing? Were you
Landline.
singing to any girls on
Yes,
on the
yes.
All right, then.
I was using
then,
the
I
YouTube.
sung in
Then
high
we
school,
can
didn't
then
I?
we can
When-
rock.
when the
I
radio-
can rock with y'all then.
We had the
Yeah.
burnt CDs.
Okay,
Thank you.
burn CD. Okay, all
First
right.
of- yes.
Well, all right, we together.
Yes, we are.
Yes,
we are.
stand together.
Cordless phones. You had to hurry up and hang up because it was beeping because
Right.
the battery was
right.
about
it
to
was
die.
Dying.
Yes.
That was the life.
Yes.
I'm
I
telling
remember
you.
it.
Mama listening in on your conversation.
Oh,
Because
yes.
she could, just
Yeah.
because she could.
She paid for it. You know what I'm saying? That was an entertainment.
Oh man. He's trying to play us. I can't believe that shit. We over here.
Good times,
We
good
ain't
times.
that old. We
times.
young in our 20s, but we ain't that. You know what I'm saying?
All right, now we can rock together. Y'all are like the baby millennials. Are you guys considered millennials? Or are you?
Yeah, we considered millennials.
Okay, so no. What
We
you
have
thinking?
90s babies. I guess the mid 90s.
I think
late
it's the mid
90s.
90s. That's where millennial pops off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, wait, the whole little era.
I mean, but
90s not the whole
everybody
90s
wants
is-
to be a millennial. Like,
Yeah, I mean, with the negative stuff we don't like.
Yeah, we don't
about-
like, you know-
every generation got its negative.
Everybody
From
does.
Generation X to baby boomers, we already know about them. So, hey, it's okay to be a millennial. So it's definitely okay to embrace that age range and what we do, because technology, we're in a technology age, and we actually master our craft with that. And on top of that, you see us succeeding more and becoming more exposed to a lot of things. Like social media has been a big platform for everybody's careers. We have obliterated CDs and went straight to streaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and YouTube is very much popping. You could become a successful YouTuber or just personality or somebody right there. You look at Issa Rae. Look at what she did.
Yeah, she
most
created her
definitely.
own lane. I love her. I love her to death. She created her own lane. She stayed in that lane, and then she excelled in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing. She didn't come to anybody else to put her on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She got her friends together. Those were her coworkers.
That's
the
crazy.
first people. She wasn't paying anybody.
Yeah.
She spent her own money on cameras. Like, one of the things that I really push, and I know it's not popular, is that having a 9-to-5 can feed your dream. Like, that's its purpose, you know,
Yeah,
like, because you got to pay rent, you got to pay bills, you want to do brunch, you know, you still want to stun a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
my
man.
9-to-5 has supported Campus Lately completely. Every last one of those 500 corporations has invested into my 9-to-5. And that's how you kind of keep pushing. That's how you afford to do your own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. You got a valid
Hey,
point.
look, don't quit your day job is what she's saying.
Don't quit your day job. You need
Not
your day
without a
job
plan.
until-
I'm
we
saying
need a plan.
You gotta have a
Have
plan.
a plan.
Yes.
Have a
See,
plan.
in your case, I know you would tell us before that you had multiple plans. If anything, you wrote a book.
I
What?
did.
Let's
I
talk about
recently wrote a book. So I'm a career coach. So one of the I like to say that I'm a serial entrepreneur. And one of my first businesses was I posted on Facebook, you know, asking my friends if they would pay me to do their resume. I was pretty good. I got pretty much all of the jobs I applied for. Like, resume game was on point. So I was
Yeah.
like, for $25, you know, I'll do your resume.
resume.
I charge more now. I don't charge $25. You
Oh,
got to know
man.
your worth. You got to know your value, what your time is worth.
There you go.
But, you know, that was how I started. And so I wrote a book called 101 Resume Tips for the Professional Millennial.
Okay.
And so I don't feel like they really prepare us for, you know, in dealing with your resume, in interviews, and even corporate America etiquette, like that unspoken etiquette. And there's a lot of rules that no one kind of hips you up on game. And if your parent, you know, didn't live in corporate America, if they're, you know, in the fast food industry, which is a completely different industry, and communicating via email all day with your coworkers, you know what I mean? And following that protocol. So yeah, my first book is just some tips on how to improve your resume. Like, I think you should use color. I use graphs. I use bullets. I'm quick to the point. I don't do paragraphs. So I try to keep it. Recruiters or hiring managers spend 2 to 3 minutes on your resume. Literally, they're looking for their words that are on their description, and that's it. They don't care about any of that other fancy stuff that does not relate to them. So I tell my clients, you change your resume up for each job. Like, each industry, you should have a resume for, hey, all right, I can do customer service.
Yeah.
I can do marketing. I've done a little bit of social media. Like, you need to have different resumes that you chop up. But you got to speak specifically to that person, because they only care about their conversation. Like, your conversation isn't as important. So that's kind of what I tell my clients, and that's what my book, the tips that it offers.
Man,
I needed this book for my first job.
well, we all needed a book like this.
You know, we didn't like to read.
College
then,
students
but,
need this, you know?
I remember my first resume was just fantastic.
Yeah.
As in, I decorated the hell out of it.
Couldn't tell you nothing. Huh?
My name
Did you
was
use
in
Resume Wizard?
No, I used Sydney
Okay.
Wizard.
You get points?
My name was in calligraphy. Like, I had the little borders and everything, you know. With
Not
the little,
the borders.
I had borders and everything. Looked like an 1800s scroll.
Boy, somebody better get this man.
What?
Thought thought you was doing is spend time.
I thought I was doing the damn thing, and
you just needed a better reference. That's all. You didn't have a good reference. You know what I'm saying? And that's just somebody not exposing you and putting it in your face and being like, you know, look how dope my stuff is. You know, try to match my dopeness. And I believe my resumes are a little dope. I've actually had a recruiter tell me, like, he saw the cover of my book and I took it. He was like, I've seen your resume before. And I was like, what? You remember? Yeah, that was me. That was totally me. So, yeah.
Well, you got a resume template now.
Yeah.
Look at you. Okay. Man, and so with your book and everything like that, and let's talk a little bit more and highlight a little bit more about your Instagram and that type of success. So how did it reach to where it is right now?
So it took stages, right? So I had to constantly learn what my audience, my target demographic, which are Black collegians. Majority of my followers are between the ages of 18 and 34, but I have followers from the age of 13 to 65. But majority are that straight in going to college or right out of college. And so I had to learn what we agreed on, what I felt, when I see something, I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. And that's what I want to share with my audience. So we started out following people on other brands. So that and you know what? It's almost like, so I don't know, I guess the 80s, they would say, go pass out 10 business cards in a day. Yeah. And then 3 people might call you back, and then that'll lead to 1 client. Yeah. So I use that same thinking process in following people. So I'll follow 100 people that follow a brand that's similar to my brand. So there's no real reason why you shouldn't follow my brand. So if it's, pictures, if it's, mine was Black collegians, was students, so I follow other brands and I follow students, and I'd get about half of them following me. And so that's how I started out. So I would dedicate time every day to go follow about 100 people. It takes about 20 minutes, but it's still a little time consuming. You know what I'm saying, to make it a habit. And so after I had about 13,000 followers, I started doing that. I probably haven't done that in a couple years. Since then, we really started creating original content. And so it's a difference to be the first one to post something. The reach is going to go a lot further. It's a difference if you create something. And even if you create it to where it's a picture we've seen, but you create a phrase that connects people. So when they see it, they feel like an emotional connection, a mental connection. They feel some type of connection just because you added that phrase or reminded them about the 90s or, something like that. And so creating original content really changed the game for us. Really pulling original videos and connecting with the people that we love, our Issa Rae's and our, you know what I mean? Just connecting with that audience that we already love and promoting them and loving on them in a positive way. So we really focus on positivity. So that's our biggest thing. We've learned a lot from our followers. Like, we can post a picture and we'll have followers love it. We'll have followers hate it. We'll have followers who are mad about it. Like, one picture, they can see so many different things. But even in that, that's a learning experience about, our culture. We're very diverse. Yeah. We're not one voice. You know what I mean? Right. So, yeah.
How many followers do you have?
We currently have about 60,000 followers on our Instagram. Yeah, we have
man,
like 60,000.
Lately, I better go follow this, man. Y'all got to go follow this. This is a beautiful
and
page,
then follow
man.
me right after.
Yeah, man. You need to go ahead. So let me ask you this. Do the hashtags matter as far as what you post on how you go about that and reaching those type of followers? Do you feel like, do you have to put in certain hashtags that appeal to this type of crowd? Because I know, like, you hashtag HBCU, like my boy said, and you will see a lot of people that follow those hashtags and actually click on your page and actually take the time out to see what you're about. So do you feel like the hashtags has helped you with your website? I mean, with the page?
I feel like the hashtags are just another tool. They're just another tool that you can use to kind of add to a certain photo. I actually own HBCU Life. I trademarked the term HBCU Life. And so I hashtag HBCU Life a lot. But I can get followers with no hashtag. I mean, I can get likes and people following because I've kind of created a voice that they follow in that instance. And so the hashtags don't necessarily, I won't see an influx just because I added HBCU, at this stage. But starting out at my beginning stage, it would put me a part of the conversation. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to, what you post and what you put out there, you want to be a part of the conversation in whatever lane you're taking. taking it. And so I decided my lane was positivity. My lane was Black collegians. And so, if we're talking about, what's going on at Prairie View actually is suing Waller County.
Yeah, I seen that.
You know what I'm saying?
What?
So,
Yeah,
and actually, when I was at Prairie View, I marched to Waller County.
Yeah,
right? For the same thing, for our rights to vote.
Yes.
So even just pulling up a photo from, 2006 and discussing the legacy continuing and Prairie View still fighting and then fighting before, I was fighting.
Yeah.
That's me jumping in that conversation. That's me creating original content. You know what I mean? So those hashtags, they do help. They help you jump in that conversation, but you want to have some original content that you're putting out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just telling you that, Cameron. I was telling you, get that by HBCU. I mean, I don't need to use them. You know what I'm saying? I still get the same.
Right.
But for you, no, I'm joking. No, I remember the first time getting an acting gig. I didn't tell you I'm an actor.
Okay.
One of my first acting gigs, I really just changed my Instagram to actor, and I put #actor, and someone saw like a little quick random headshot that I did, and then they reached out to me, and then there you go.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be just that
Yeah.
easy, but being smart about the target audience that you're trying to aim for, that's what you're going to pull back into whatever you're putting out, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I've paid attention to with social media, and we could talk about that a little bit, is when you start to do successful things or you start to branch yourself off and people are actually noticing that you are succeeding in your department or your craft or whatever things that you're pushing with, you'll see a lot of people kind of watch you but disconnect or don't like your post. You can go from hundreds and 200, 300 likes on average, but once you start posting stuff and people actually see you progressing in your field, they stop liking, but they're watching. So let's talk about that, man. What do you? Yeah.
So I have about 60,000 followers, and my views on videos generally can average like 3 times that. So you guys are seeing it, and that could be on a weekly basis. So 3 times who follow me, you guys are seeing it, but you're not following me. So I think with social media, people have become a lot more selective in who they follow. I think that they realize that their follow is almost like a vote. You know what I mean? In a sense, it's like casting your vote. And so, I mean, we all are. You know what I'm saying? We'll scroll through and like a lot more than what we actually like. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? We'll smile at a lot more than what we actually tap. And I think that's just the wave of how it works. One of my biggest things is when I started out, at first I wanted all the people who follow my personal page, who, of course, people I went to school with, family, friends, follow my business page. I had to realize that they're not my target audience. I can't expect them. I can't fault them. I can't give them any obligation. I can't set any obligation towards them in reference to following my brand. My brand has to be for my target audience. So I just told myself, it's not personal. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not you watching, that's good enough. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what's up.
You see me.
You know what's up. You know what's good. You know what's good. But I'm not relying on you. I'm not expecting you. You know what I mean? We have a whole totally different relationship, which means I have to work harder to find my target audience, because it's out there. There are millions and millions of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kim Kardashian has millions of people who follow her. The Shade Room. There's enough of us. You know what I mean? There's not a limit. I'm not fighting against anybody. I just have to find my target audience.
Right. Okay. And so with that being said, do you have somebody other than yourself operating your page, or is it just you by yourself?
It is just me by myself. It's just me by myself. I had a business partner for when we first started, and so I've been solo for about 2 years now.
Wow.
About 2 years now, and in the past 2 years, we've probably grown by about 40,000 followers. Went from a viewership of maybe 200, 300,000 to about 2 million per, Instagram stats. They give you the 7 days, So in these past 2 years, my attitude shift. My, what I decided I wanted from my business and what I was willing to give to it. And so that was all while working a full-time job, a 9-to-5 engineering job. And I'm also a full-time mother. But I want it to go.
Let's talk about it, man. We got to highlight this. Hey, Lashawn need a day in Houston already. Let's go ahead and do it. Hey, Sylvester Turner, holla at us, man.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I'm so baby. I'm like baby big time. You know what I mean? But I'm on my way. And so I'm actually moving to California next week.
Well, what part? We going to the...
I'm moving to Long Beach.
Oh, okay. Say what's up to Snoop. You already know.
Yeah.
Gotta holla at Unc real quick.
Making some moves.
Yeah. So, wow. But, you know you gotta have your money right to move to California, right? I said you gotta have your money right to move to California. So for Lashawn to move to California, she got her money.
Doing something. Yeah, she's taking care of business.
Man, I went out to Oakland this past summer. I did a research. I presented my research in Oakland, California, or whatever, and it was expensive for real.
Yeah.
Being out there, the gas prices, boy, it was like $5.
Like double, right? It's like double.
I had the small thing, a mouthwash. That thing cost me $6.
Mouthwash.
I was like, boy,
look, I'm gonna shop on Amazon and have them send it to
There
you.
we go.
I had to do something. Hey, look, I'm gonna send you a grocery list, send you something in the mail from Texas. Mail that
Some
out.
love,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Be like, this half the price of what you spending there, Sean. Right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So what's going on in California? Like, what do we have lined up out there?
So I am actually going back to school, and I'm getting my master's in marketing and communication.
Okay.
And then I have a couple of internships lined up.
Oh.
So I'm looking to transition. Like engineering was fun. The money was nice. But I really enjoy what I do with my company.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy promoting and connecting with people and communicating with people. And so we're gonna see what we can do. Like, honestly, if I'm being real with y'all, like, I'm totally jumping out there on faith. Like, I'm straight on some, like, all right, catch me, Jesus. I'm jumping.
Yeah.
I'll be there on the 1st. Like, so no, I mean, but I have some things lined up, and some connections that I'm working, and so we'll see what I can make pop.
Definitely. So you definitely got those connections out there in Cali, right?
I got some connections out there. I got
look,
some connections.
I got a boy right now that's pursuing music, and he left Houston and went straight to Cali too.
How you doing?
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's working. He said, "Hey, once I get this bag, I'm going to LA." I was like, "All right, cool." So hey, he's doing something
Chasing
right
the dream.
now.
There you go.
You got to chase your dream. You got to take those chances.
It's all about the process. Like, the process is so much more important than actually getting there. I mean, because once you get there, you're literally reflecting on the process, like on what it took you to get there, on who you had to become to get there, on the sacrifices you had to make. So, the process, if we kind of change our perspective, like, even with working in corporate America and not wanting to be there, wanting to be free, wanting to do my own thing, wanting more time and more energy, I had to change my perspective and, like, okay, this is my process. Like, I have to walk through it. Like, this is going to get me from this step to this step to this step. So just, I'm just still following my process.
Absolutely. Okay. Man, this is some good, and it's a great interview. This is a great podcast, man. Shout outs to the Green Light.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think you could see? Or let me rephrase this. Where do you see campus lately in the next few years, and where do you see Lashawn in the next few years? As far as where do you ultimately want to go and reach with what you're doing and with your craft?
Well, last year, Campus Lately put on its first conference at Prairie View A&M University.
And I was attending that.
It was. Did you enjoy it?
Yes,
it was
I
awesome.
I really did. Yes.
And so we're actually connecting with the communications department, and so for Communications Week, Marketing Week, we're going to do the event during that week and partner with the school. And so we actually want, where I see it in the next 5 years, it's definitely us traveling, taking that program to other colleges, to other HBCUs. I'm actually starting to interview students and different individuals, similar to yourself, but not a podcast yet. Yeah. But going to different events and interviewing those individuals, and so that's something that I kind of want to grow. I think I connect well with people, and so I want to grow that. And so I want Campus Lately to be a household name, especially on every HBCU. Like, if you go to an HBCU, I want you to know Campus Lately, like you know the Shade Room.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I want want you to, I want you to rock with me.
Yeah.
We have students who write for our publication, and so ultimately, these students are my interns, and I'm giving them an opportunity to gain experience on a national level before they graduate. And so I want to keep growing that program. I want to keep working with these students. I want to keep giving them opportunities, keep connecting. And so then we also work with brands, and so we work to get brands in front of our students. So whether it's we have an activity on campus and we actually bring that brand to the university, which a lot of PWIs, they receive those opportunities all the time.
Right.
Like, they had a eyebrow makeup thing on campus where the girls got free makeup, and you know what I mean? Those are wonderful opportunities that my students are consumers. We, African Americans actually spend the majority of their time shopping on their phone. We are heavy consumers.
Yeah.
And, those dollars should be going to, to our community and, chase us too. So we definitely want to continue to connect with brands and kind of grow that aspect of our business. So it's just grow. I just want to keep growing. I have a lot of things out there. My clothing line, Campus Lately Apparel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we push the HBCU life, right? And so I just want to keep growing. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and do it better.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I really appreciate about the event that you hosted at Prairie View, you really brought a lot of exposure to our HBCU. Let's talk about the lineup or the cast or the people that you actually brought, the guests that actually showed up to this event. You had what
was this event called again?
It was the Black Collegiate Marketing PR Conference. Awfully long. I'm changing the name, but
okay.
I wanted students to know that all of you guys are accepted. You know what I mean? Like this is for you, and this is for you, and this is for you. You know what I mean? But we had D1 there.
Yeah.
We had JJ from the Box.
Yeah.
She's also recently written a couple books.
Okay.
We had some wonderful people from marketing in their own right. We had
Jonathan Robb.
We did. We had the founder of Watch the Yard. He came out and spoke to our students. We actually had the founder of Build Your Own Brand.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew.
Yeah.
He came out. We had
my frat brother, man.
Yeah. We had an amazing lineup, and so this was like my I totally invested in this event. Like I believed in it, and I worked. Honestly, it knocked me on my ass. Like when the event was over, I was sick. I was like under the weather. I was out of it, but I put my all into it, and it turned out really well.
Absolutely.
You didn't invite me to nothing.
Man, look. This was last semester, I believe.
Last semester.
It was
February.
last semester. Okay, so my only complaint, and maybe so. We didn't get a whole bunch of student participation. So we put out flyers. It was, something that we definitely wanted the students to see. But at the HBCU, them participating is an issue sometimes. So I've done a couple events at HBCUs. Okay. And sometimes the students don't see the value in it. And it's hard to fight that. It's hard to keep coming back, you know what I mean, and fighting that. But I really do think this year partnering with the next group will be good.
I think for moving forward, when you have these things, I think that we have the right connections to at least get the student body out. And, with our HBC, with Prairie View, it's steady growing. TSU is steady growing, and they have people. It's a different breed of students now. You have people that's actually feeling that school spirit and actually wanting to come out into a lot of these events. In every class, them freshman classes, I really, I think that if you could do it, I'm not even gonna tell you how to do it or anything like that, but during the fall semester is when you can really tap into those freshmen and tap into the school, because that's when they're full of that PV spirit.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
They really ready to go to any and everything. And it's like, bro, y'all really go to everything.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so I think that would be dope. In Campus Activity Board, I'm pretty sure like they you get them on board with you.
They're pretty dope.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I got a question for you. This is a boring question, but no, it's not that boring. But
your disclaimer.
Yeah, no, it's a disclaimer. Maybe it's more so. Maybe it's more so for the younger people. Do you think you'd still be on the same path if you didn't go to an HBCU?
That's a great question, actually.
My entire platform is centered around HBCUs. Right. You know what I mean? It's centered around, and so no, my answer for me personally is no. Like, my HBCU experience was so dope. Like, I was in everything. It was small enough for me not to be afraid to put myself out there, but big enough for me to, you know, spread my wings. I ran for SGA president. I started an organization. I pledged. Like, I got every experience that they were trying to offer me. You know, I tried to grab hold to. And so if I would not have went to an HBCU, no, my brand I wouldn't have what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't be connected to it the way I am, because I really want to give back to the next generation. I really want to give back to these young students. You know, I really want them to have the tools that I maybe thought were lacking, or, you know, weren't there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I know, and you saying you saying that HBCU is important, you know, as far as your own particular path that you're striving on. Do you feel like college was actually necessary, though, for, you know, what were you aiming for before all of this, before you even went to college? You get what I'm saying?
Well, before I went to college, I mean, I wanted to be a lawyer, and then I went to college for engineering. I want to be a lawyer and wear, like, really cool suits and have a briefcase, and I mean, you know what I mean? It was on TV, you know what I'm saying? You know, it was just what that vision I had in my head. I don't think everybody needs college. I do think college was very beneficial for me. I love dropping "I'm an engineer" card in a room. You know, I've walked into my company that I worked for, and, you know, maybe my first or third day, somebody didn't know me. Oh, are you the new admin? No, I'm the new engineer. Hi, you know, nice to meet you. That engineering has funded, you know, my life, and so I've been able to breathe while I try to build my business. I've been able to have the funds to invest in my website, to invest in the maintenance, to invest in people, and you know what I mean, and clothes, and, you know, all of these things. And so I couldn't have got there without school. I wouldn't have had this. I love being. I'm going to my homecoming. I love being connected to my homecoming. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be connected to some of the people that I'm connected to. My DJ is from my HBCU. My doctor, my dentist, my financial advisor. You know what I mean? Like, I received so many things that, you know, weren't on my degree or weren't a part of my degree, because I went to college, and then, you know, because I went to an HBCU. So for me, I needed it for my process. Like, I don't like being broke.
Yeah. There you go. Go to an HBCU. You heard it here first.
I like to be able to pay all my bills and then some. So you know what I mean? And, you know, it's harder. And so I actually talked to a student who was thinking about quitting college because his business was doing good. He didn't necessarily have a client. He didn't necessarily have a full clientele. He had a few people. He had a few gigs. He didn't have a reoccurring monthly income. You know, he had a vision and a dream, and I don't want to stop anybody's dream, because it's all about the process. Even if you quit, you can always go back. You know what I'm saying? If you quit and you learn, you know, that, hey, I need some more money, you know, whatever. It's you know, I don't want to, but I really want to be like, baby, get the degree. Like, you know what I mean? This process of you creating your dreams, especially if you're an entrepreneur, it isn't a, like, 2-year thing. It's usually not even a 10-year thing. Like, it's sometimes like a life thing. You know, the individual who did Shea Moisture, he started out 23 years ago on the corner in New York, whipping shea butter together and selling it on the corner in New York. 23 years ago. Now his stuff, first his stuff was in Target and Walmart, and then he sold his company and then bought Essence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was a 40, 50-year journey for this young man. You know what I mean? It wasn't, and so in that time, I'm sure he had multiple jobs. You know, in that time, I'm sure he had to do, you know, several things to pay his bills. So are you going to be able to say, hey, I have a degree, and so you have to pay me a minimum of this? when those times come, because for the majority, and not for everybody, you know, some of us get found in the mall or, you know, wherever you're found on YouTube. My bad, I'm on YouTube. Some of us get found on YouTube. But, you know, for some of us who have to build it, you know, who have to build a following, who have to build a reputation, who have to build that record, you know, for people to seek them and ask them to come and be on their podcast. You know what I mean? For those people, it's a process. And so I think having that piece of paper is just always a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is brought to you in part by Shea Moisture.
Yeah, man.
Send us money.
Definitely need
Advertising, send us money.
I be using
it works.
It does. I really got rid of lotion and all of that, and I'm just straight Shea.
Black people of justice.
Yes. The melanin.
Melanin.
The melanin podcast.
Melanin podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man, but you know what? I definitely can agree and attest to you with what you said about, you know, your HBCU experience and all of those things, because it helped my brand. Hey, we got to say no more now, and we got a podcast now, and we doing public speaking, and it built my confidence.
Yeah.
It helped me to be around people that look just like me, that had a goal that's similar to mine. Just people that are just like-minded, and you're like, man, I did not know my culture was just this deep with this many people, because when
or even that diverse.
Yeah, or
you know what I mean?
Diverse.
The skater dude, the skater black boy, you know what I mean? The preppy black boy, the artist, the nerdy, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just we're so diverse.
Yeah, you got the Nigerians, you got the African American, you
God.
got all man. Nah, we got it all as far as just different shades and beauty of black.
Yeah.
And I think that's a dope thing that I've never seen before. And I've always heard negative things about going to HBCUs. But once I got there, it was a beautiful campus with beautiful tradition, with beautiful people.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, this is something. I made the right choice by being here. But shout outs to you for bringing Jonathan there, man. The guy that created Watch the Yard, because I think that was his very first time being at Prairie View, and then he reached out to the Greeks that were on the yard and actually spent that time and walked with us everywhere. We gave him a tour of Prairie View. We took him to all of the plots and the trees and all of those things. Talked to him about the significance of the chapters and all of those things. Then we took him to Sandra Blend's the memorial,
really
and he went live. And
Jonathan, he's good people. He's
genuine
really
guy,
good
man. Genuine guy. And I was like, man, hold on. Like, Lashawn brought this here and had shine light on our HBCU, and Prairie View forever will be in his heart. Yeah. Because of something like this. You know, and I really shout it out, because it's a beautiful thing to be here and be in this position. We can just talk about even some historical facts about the HBCU. The fact that we have the tradition of not stepping on the grass. Yeah. What does that mean to our, we just pay homage and respect towards our ancestors, because it was a plantation. It was called the Alta Vista Plantation. And we can get into all of that, man, like literally, and we just don't step on the grass just to respect them and those type of things. And then when we talk about Texas schools and we talk about what was in the Texas Constitution.
Come on now.
There were 3 schools in the Texas Constitution out of all the schools.
One HBCU?
One HBCU. You had Texas A&M, you had UT, Prairie View A&M University. And it paved the way for a lot of...
We're just going to put 10 TSUs in there.
We love TSU too, though.
Yeah,
it's all love, man.
Black.
It's all love. I love... I think the last number was 103 HBCUs that's, like, reported on Wikipedia. I want to say, like, 2 years ago, it was 107. So, we're losing some HBCUs. Some HBCUs aren't receiving the funding. People aren't giving back. You're right. The accreditation. So, we have some HBCUs that are flourishing. And then, we still have some that we have to, stand in the gap, because people who go to, like, you usually go where you live near. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If there's an HBCU in Alabama, there's you know what I mean? Not too far, you can afford it. Your mom can get you there. You know what I mean? And so we want to, keep those. We want to keep those alive.
We definitely have to further the support, with our HBCUs and everything. A lot of them being bought out, if anything, or not getting as much funding as everyone.
Oh yes, let's talk about it, man.
Over there with Texas Southern University, U of H is just expanding,
and
they
it's
have
right down the street.
They have a bus that goes through their campus. That's how big it is now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And the buildings are just flying up in a matter of days. Yeah. And I've been hearing forever through the grapevine since I was a freshman that they're trying to buy us.
Really?
Buy Texas Southern, if anything. If you didn't know, well, now you know.
Nah, man, look,
You
he
know,
over there airing it out.
I'm airing it out. You know what I'm saying? You know, and just reading a lot of things. It's a lot of condensing that's going on. You get what I'm saying? And trying to narrow that down. It was an article that I read. I can't even fact check right now. I forgot about the article, but it was basically speaking on Americans who are not of African American descent. If anything, sometimes they feel left out. You know, that there's an HBCU, if anything, and a lot of people try to call it reverse racism. Yeah. If anything.
Well, actually, that's super false because there are actually several HBCUs that aren't majority black.
Yeah.
That they service their community. There, I know for sure, is one that is majority Hispanic, and I want to say there's a couple that are majority other. You know, not African American. Right. And HBCUs are just like any other institute. You know, they are trying to sustain. They're trying to grow, and on just the black community, they can't sustain forever. Right. You know what I mean? And so that's why they're reaching out. Right. Yeah, they need help from all cultures to still preserve the history. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To not take away from the history, but the universities have to keep growing. And that it's definitely been a shift in HBCUs. They are not majority African American. Not all of them. Not all of them, anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just the falsehood for them to want to feel that way. You know, just because of the name. Like, you know, no, that's our history. Yeah. Our history is positive. Like, you know, we're gonna keep rocking with it.
Definitely. There we go. Black Mythbusters here.
Yeah, man.
The mic scared me just now.
Nah, but you know what? It's crazy, but it's cool at the same time. Like, one thing you could learn at being at the HBCU that we don't really show like racial hatred.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. We really embrace different cultures. Mm-hmm. And like we might joke around with you and stuff like that, but please don't take offense to it. We're just embracing you in our way. Exactly. We like to have fun and laugh about things. Yeah. Like, you know, if there's
we Jones each other.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about each other like there's black people problems over here, but then you talk about somebody that's white and then you just embrace them and we be cracking jokes, be like, y'all do this in a white family, huh? Man, nah, it's all good, bro. Come on over here. But that's just us that we don't see that racism. We don't do all of those things. No. We actually show love and embrace you. And guess what? Once you graduate from HBCU, you can always come back because you're always family.
Always family. Yeah. And I love that about our community. It's not about hatred. It's not about, you know, other or, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely about embracing whoever. And you know what I mean? And just kind of walking through this experience.
Well, let me ask you guys a real question because you're both Greek, correct?
Yes, I am a Delta.
Shout it out.
Eta Beta.
Sydney over here. You know. But I'm asking you guys this because you saying that inviting all cultures and everything, I'm going to ask you a tough question. Yeah, you know I do it. Do you feel as though that Greeks should have more other cultures, you know, kind of join in more so on you know, on the fraternity and sorority life, like as being more Caucasians pledging? What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Well,
you want me to take
go for it. Go for it. You the guest.
So one of my line sisters is Hispanic.
Yes.
And she saw the same thing that I saw in the Delta women on our campus. Mm-hmm. She saw strong women. Mm-hmm. She saw women that she felt like she could connect with. Mm-hmm. And I love my line sister. I gave her an opportunity. I got to know her as a person. I didn't judge her race. I didn't judge her, you know, that because she wasn't a part of my race. And I think if anybody does that in any situation, you're usually not really tripping with the person about wanting that experience. Like I get on the, you know, on the higher level, if you want to look at the big picture, how it looks like, white boy, why you want to be a Kappa? I mean, I get on the big picture, but if you took the time to just have a relationship with him and to get to know him, you would be like, all right, you know, he becomes your brother, or that person, you know, she became my sister. And so I, you know, if you see the same things that I see in my organization, which are the positivity, the sisterhood, the love, the bond, then, you know,
come on,
I'm for it.
Yeah. So, and a lot of things we have to realize is that it be some white boys and white people that go through the struggles like us. Not everybody from the suburbs.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
They see it. They come up, and I know somebody that's in ministry right now. He's straight out of the heart of Fifth Ward, Texas. But you know, when it looks like that, you're like, hold on, this white boy from Fifth Ward, like, does he have that street credibility? But it's like, man, you got to embrace him because he came in the same circumstances, if not worse, than you. I have a line brother that's fully Mexican. You met my line brother, but you know,
Yeah.
at the same time, he just, man, when I say that's a soul brother, I don't know what's really up with him, but he is very soulful, very just black all around. Because it's like he listens to R&B and all of that old school jams and all of that. He be vibing. He all about the Texas culture and things like that. And he, even as far as dating women, he just loved the black women. And he just like, hey, look. The Mexican girl is cool, but I love black women more. And I was like, okay, hey, you good with me? Hey,
Yeah.
you know, so those type of things, man, you really don't, like, I honestly don't even, I be forgetting, like, he's Mexican sometimes because of those things. And it's like, man, we are appreciative and we're open to anybody. And that's just, that goes to show you the black culture, that we will hype it up. If more than anything, we will hype them up about joining something that embraces us. Like, as long as you know the culture, you know what we go through, you feel the same way we feel.
Right. You're not trying to fake the facade. You know what I'm saying? It's just an appreciation, and welcome to the family.
Exactly. And so I think, so for me being an alpha man, there's white boys in our fraternity. I think the very first non-black alpha, his name is, I think, Dr. Bernard Levin, and I think that was
trying to spit history. Let us know he know his stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say no more. 06. But nah, so something like that. I think that started. I don't even know what year. Let me not even go all the way into history facts. But I'm just saying we embraced that, and I think that was cool. Even back in the day when my fraternity was founded, like in 06, and at Cornell University, this was a prestigious white institution, predominantly white institution.
Yeah.
You already know, in the year of 1906. You already know what it was looking like. But you had my founders, these 7 men out here tutoring their white peers or the white students there. They were actually helping out. Yeah. So we always embrace people as far as in our culture, and we never really just looked at them because of their racial and been like, hey, nah, you're not good. Look at Dr. King, one of the most notable alpha men. Yeah. And look at what he tried, what he did for the culture, what he did for society, what he did for America. And you just got to highlight those type of things. Yeah.
And that's the best thing. I think the best part about our community, our culture, is that when we say black power, it never means anti-you. Yeah. You know, it never means anti somebody else. When we say HBCU, it doesn't represent anti-you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing about our black community. You know what I mean? We can love on ourselves and love on our community and still be accepting of others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hit you guys with another button question. So, we're talking about all jumping in and joining along and everything.
Yeah.
Say we're in the year 2040, and then you have a line.
2040. Okay.
Well, come on now. Work with me.
We in
2040.
Okay.
You have a line. These are alphas. Mm-hmm. And then let's say happens 4 are white and 1 is black.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
There are going to be memes. People are going to have jokes. People going to feel some kind of way.
Going to be on Greek shenanigans. Yes.
I mean, but nobody's going to petition to take their Greek letters away. No, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to pay money to have a campaign to ruin their lives.
Absolutely.
They're going to clown them. I mean, even I would feel some type of way. But past feeling some type of way, but because of the optics, you know what I mean? Like, all right, this where we at.
This where we at.
As long as you know the reasons why you pledging, man. I think a lot of people, you have to do your research and understand why you're pledging. A lot of people, I'm watching a lot of people denounce their letters and all of those things. And
it's a big thing these days.
It's a big thing these days. But, I think that, I can't tell everybody's reasons or tell them, why they're doing that. But a lot of this stuff comes from struggling with their own identity. And so they didn't have their own identity within themselves, or they didn't have that confidence within themselves at times, and they confided in something. Everybody in this world, every human being wants to be a part of something, wants to belong to something. And you always have a group of people, whether it be a circle, organization at your school or anything like that. You always just want to be a part of something. And so I think a lot of people just struggle with their identity, and then they join these organizations and they get this information, and then they have a religious background, and then they end up finding God and was like, you know what? I needed God all along. Wait a minute. did I really need to join that Greek or letter organization? Wait a minute, I heard so many things about it. I'm misinformed now, this and that. And so now you see a lot of people denouncing because they didn't have their identity before that. Yeah. They used that, and then that was, let's be realistic. Sometimes Greek letters for certain people, they take it to their head, and then that becomes their God because that's all they give their energy to because they don't have that personal identity.
Greek to find identity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, bro, like if the number one question is, hey, do your letters define you or do you define your letters? And the answer should always be, I define my letters. I define that organization based off of my qualities and my personality and the things that I bring to the table, and that's what helps this. But if this thing only defines who I am and my character, then I don't really have a character. I don't really have a personality and all of those things. So I think that's one of the biggest things with one of those, with people joining it. You have to do it for the right reasons and understand why you're doing it. So if they had a line of 4 white men and 1 black guy, I'm all for it as long as they know why they're doing it and understanding the history behind it and what we had to go through and how we had to catch hell just to start something like this for the culture. Yeah. And if they're for helping out the culture, I embrace you.
Okay, I feel you. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, does that really uphold the lineage, of it being...
Alpha ain't going to stop.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it can't stop.
All
bro.
right.
It's too many black people in the world. You can't stop, bro. We're not even just in America. We're all around now.
Yeah, true enough.
It's we here international.
Look, 4 white boys ain't gonna shut nothing down.
Nah. That's in one little town, one little school. Okay, cool. Okay. Keep it moving. Yeah.
All right. I'm shutting the button questions down. You got me.
Yeah. So, real quick, we about to get ready to close it out. So we're going to give a 30-second spiel for each individual right here on what do you want to say, what do you want to say to the people, how people can, follow you and keep up with you. So, we already got to start with my man Sid Said So.
Yeah. Again, he calls me Sid Said So because I have a YouTube channel, do a little bit of comedy on there. I'm kind of funny. It has an H at the end because it doesn't stand for Houston. It's because somebody already took the name. So
Lord, how much he says this every time. He says this every podcast.
Really?
I promise you, he says this. I think this is. Yeah.
I wish you would come up with a better.
One day.
Just make up something for the H, man. Heart or something.
Yeah, there we go.
Sid says so. It's heart. All right.
It's his heart. I don't know. Follow me on Instagram, the Sydney Odom. You can Google me. I'm an actor. You can watch some of the short films that I'm done. Sydney A. Odom.
You're a director. Hire this man.
Hire me, give me some money, throw it my way, get me out of here. Basically, what I pulled from the spill today, the most important thing was probably know yourself. Know yourself, as I said last time, know yourself and everyone else will too. Figure out who you are first, especially before you pledge, like you guys are talking about, with Greeks and everything. Realize who you are and the place that you have in this world and what you want to do with it. The change that you want to make and what you want to do with your own life. And own up to that.
Hey.
There you go. Again, my name is Sydney Odom. Follow me on Instagram, the Sydney Odom.
I love that shirt too, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I got it from the store.
Alrighty.
Is it my turn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Lashawn Chambers. You can follow my brand at Campus Lately. Definitely follow our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can also check out campuslately.com. You can follow me personally at Miss_Chambers. I guess my takeaway from today is to definitely watch your perspective, especially when it comes to your process. There are going to be good days, bad days, hard days, broke days, heartbroken days. Like all of these days are going to come. So let's just throw it out there and put it on the wall that you're going to get a little bit of it because we all get a piece. But look at your perspective. Is this a test? Is this a lesson? Do I need to grow? Do I need to expand who I am? Do I need to step back? Do I need to push harder? Look at you because you are usually the issue, whether it's good, bad, happy, or sad. You are the catalyst and the reason. So look at you and then readjust, and then readjust again, and then readjust again, and then keep fucking readjusting until you get it, because it's a process, and you're not gonna get it the first time, second time, maybe not in the third time, but eventually you'll get it, because it has no choice but to open up. It has no choice but for your dreams to come true. That the world has no choice but to give you what you demand and what you ask for. That's it.
That's Miss Chambers, y'all.
There we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You got to and my name is Cam Green, of course, the Say No More the brand. Excuse me. Lord have mercy. But y'all can follow me at Instagram and Twitter at Cam, K-A-M, Green like the color, S&M, which stands for Say No More. We are pushing with the motivational speaking, with public speaking, with this podcast. And thank you for everybody who has been supporting me. We are constantly growing. The brand, my man Sydney out here rocking with us. Lashawn, thank you so much for coming and spending some of your time. Busy.
Yeah.
We definitely gonna be praying for you and wishing you the best on your future endeavors. California.
Here I come, Cali.
Look out for it.
Yeah. So hey, look, we're really excited about that, and definitely we got to keep supporting our black people. We got to keep supporting our HBCUs. Yep. We got to keep spreading the news and letting them know, hey, black people are we're not angry all the time. We are not always in the news making a fool out of ourselves. We more than just that. We are so much more, and we're some peaceful people once you actually get to know us instead of stereotyping us. And we're probably going to look out for you on the long run. You already know what it is. But, hey, man, like I said, this is Cam Green, and this is Cam's Green Light. Thank y'all for checking in with the podcast. Say no more. Say less.
Say less.